Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. I'm going to talk some reality, some freeing reality, yes? Some uplifting content today. I'm speaking to the men as always, and I want to say, bro, we're gonna err into the black pill a little bit, yeah? The black pill, yes? Bro, I wasn't born with the right genetics. Oh, it's all about face and height, my brother. Yeah. Let's talk about it, yeah? I'm talking to the balding men. I'm talking to the short men. I'm talking to the asymmetrical men. I'm talking to the men who believe they are of an undesirable race, okay? Hey, that's what you lot want to talk about, so let's talk about it, right? I'm going to start off by giving you this, yeah? You are being egocentric. You are being self-centered. And it's casting a cloud upon your judgment, right? You're not seeing things as they are. You are projecting your own wants and needs upon the woman who doesn't see it that way. She doesn't. I mean, we're going to talk about the reality of it, and the reality of it is that, yes, like, it does, you know, your physical appearance does matter to whichever degree, but it's not the be-all and end-all, because you are projecting what you want as a man upon that woman. And that woman is a different species. That woman is the feminine as opposed to the masculine, and we operate in different ways. Our brains are different. Our hormones are different. Our wants and needs and necessities and that which attracts us are different. Okay? We as men want a pretty young thing that showcases the right proportions to emphasize her fertility. Because you have to understand, there's two laws of nature. First and foremost, it's self-preservation, survival, right? We can't think about creating kids and engaging in, you know, all of that nonsense when we don't have a roof over our heads and when we're starving to death, or if we're, you know, a little bit parched, to say the least. First, we need to source out that which will keep us alive. You know, if we're incredibly ill, the last thing we're going to think about is procreating and bringing a child into this world. So our need for procreation is going to be left to the side momentarily. Now, let's say we live a life that is of an appropriate degree of comfort, right? Now we can start searching for a woman to breed, right? And we look at that woman's body for her value, generally speaking. You know, the richest man on planet Earth isn't going to look for a woman for what job she has or this, that, and the third. He's going to be sexually attracted to the woman who works at the cafe who looks sexy, right? She appeals to his senses, right, as a man. Now, we project that upon the woman, thinking that the woman looks at us in the same way. Not to anything close to that degree. She looks at us as an object of success. She looks at our behaviours, our characteristics, the way we hold ourselves, the outfit we're wearing, more so than the actual physique as to whom's wearing it. As I said, I'm still not putting down the fact that you're going to get more attention from a woman giving you look good than if you don't. Duh. But there are levels to this. If you look at multi-billionaires, CEOs, artists, creators, people of status in your local community, look at your boss in the workplace, they are more likely to get a higher value of woman than you are, given that they have an access to resource or showcase the behaviors of being able to go and get that resource. And you might think, well, if he doesn't have it, how can he portray that and get a woman, like, even though he doesn't have it? Well, that's because she has an inbuilt recognition of patterns through the men she's experienced in her life. And given that you showcase, or they showcase, the intelligence of such a frequency that it shows an abnormal degree of applicable power, for lack of better terms, she'll be attracted to that power or display of power, you know. Through the mental realm, she'll be turned on by the intelligence of that man. She'll be turned on by the watch of that man. You're wearing a Rolex. That's way more attractive than the bum who's wearing, you know, a gym outfit and is in good shape. She'll be more attractive to the bald man who is secure in himself than the man who holds him at low self-esteem, who is in the same, you know, tax bracket, who has a full head of hair. She will test the man whilst dating to say, oh, he's so sexy, you know, he's got long, luscious locks. And she will watch that bald man to see how he responds, because she knows that bald men are insecure. But the moment that bald man responds in complete confidence, because he doesn't actually care, because he's accepted himself, that bald man becomes more attractive than the man with a full head of hair whom she doesn't know yet. You see? Your weakness is your strength when you accept it, because that woman perceives it as a weakness until you showcase it's irrelevant to you. Now she sees your true strength. She sees you facing obstacles and its applications elsewhere across the board. She sees you facing societal judgment, and you're more than happy to just sort of take it on the chin and move on with life, because what you can't deal with, you know, what you can't change, you can accept. And that is in its own way peacocking, right? So when you think about the concept of peacocking, a man will wear a stupid hat in order to attract attention, but he will also attract ridicule because of that stupid hat. And that woman finds interest in that man because he's putting himself out there, attracting ridicule, but being so confident in himself that it doesn't matter and it's irrelevant to him. You, with these, you know, unfortunate genetics, the fact that you're wearing them loud and proud and accepting yourself as you are, that's more attractive than the neutral, good-looking man. You have to flip the script, and the thing is, you might not be able to believe this, but if you do believe this and find some degree of sense out of what I'm saying, then you are going to hold yourself and manifest a self that is naturally magnetic to women. I'm putting you on some good game. So, you're going bald, who cares? Do you know what they call that? They call that male pattern baldness, right? Male pattern baldness is called male pattern baldness. It's what a man goes through, right? The temples are receding. It stems from a particular strain of testosterone. It's masculine. She's feminine. She wants a masculine man. You're bald because you're projecting, you know, your perception of what is attractive onto the woman who doesn't see things in the same way. She's attracted to the masculine, you're attracted to the feminine, right? So you're applying this feminine full head of luscious hair. You're projecting the idea that you have to be feminine and androgynous in image in order to appeal to this woman. No, she wants a man. Your height is irrelevant. There's always going to be someone taller than you, right? So why are you going to cry about it? Yeah? A woman's going to ask you about your height. It may be a deal breaker if she's taller than you, right? But you refocus, reassess, and redirect that downside into a positive, because everything is based upon a principle of opposites. And where there's darkness, there is light. Now, I'm saying you have to be careful. I don't want you overcompensating. But if you feel that you have, you know, a lesser chance of being successful in the dating pool compared to the people around you because you lack of a particular genetic quality, how about you reapply that disdain and that energy into something creative? Yeah? Preferably not aesthetic in itself, right? Because as I said, that would be overcompensation, but that energy and that distaste towards where you stand in the value of the eyes of that woman, you should get your head down and get to work and create something of yourself. Yeah? Because the man who has had it comfortable doesn't do so. The man who is born with no money, who has got his head screwed on, and wants to change his generational curse, per se, is going to have more of a drive and establish more of a momentum when things get going than the man who was born into money and never had the drive to begin with because he was always comfortable. You must always look at how you can weaponize your shortcomings, your downfalls, and perceive every failure as an incredible success, because it is. You must stop looking at yourself through the eyes of the man and look at yourself through the eyes of the woman. As that woman gets older, she is going to want security instead of a toy boy, instead of someone who looks good on her arm. Real talk, honestly. So if you're a young man, things are hard enough for you as it is, right? If you are a young man, things are hard enough as it is. If you are, I hope you're above the age of 18. If you're younger, hey, you know, your head's not screwed on as it is. Like, if you manage to get a little bit of punani, good on you, you know. Most of them people are just scrambling about hoping for the best. But if you're 18 years old, up until the age of 25, let's say, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Naturally, no matter how good looking you are, it's going to be tough in comparison to you as a mature man, because that woman wants a mature man. And as you get older as a man, coming up to your 40s, if not your 50s, given that you play the game right and you continue establishing momentum in your finances, in your status, in your knowledge, in your health, you're only going to continue attracting more and more women, because the women want an older man. The women want a mature man. The women want a man who has aged into his masculine spirit and entity and presence and everything in between. And as a young man, you're too close to a boy for her to appreciate that, right? So just keep your head screwed on. Understand that you're feeling some sort of way for a reason, but redirect that energy and learn how to do so. Look into the retention of semen, look into sexual transmutation, right? That frustration you feel is a powerful source of energy that you can harness and redirect into a brilliant place, into a place of success, into a place of manifesting what you want right now. Okay? Look after yourself. Preserve yourself well. Believe that there is a protocol when it comes to how she perceives you aesthetically, right? It might get your foot in the door if you look after yourself, if you're a little bit taller, if you're a little bit more handsome, if you're wearing better clothes than the next man. It is important to consider and appreciate. But once she gets to know you, right, i.e. once she's spoken to you for 10 seconds... none of that matters, and there are more important things she's going to be paying attention to. That woman doesn't look at you. She looks into you. Okay? Remember that. She doesn't look at you. She looks into you. She looks for who you are, your content of character, your future, the provision you're able to provide, your masculine qualities, your fatherly qualities. She wants to be led. She wants to be taught. She wants to be put in submissive position, and purely down to the fact you're good looking isn't necessarily going to be enough for her to be placed within that position. That's some game. Click like and subscribe. Keep your head up. Peace.